easily, and they're taking their time here, Uber. They're not immediately going in. They're waiting for a good moment for everyone to dive in at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that. I don't mind that. Now Coffee's going to jump in. He's trying to do a Pidmitsu and Kayun up on the high ground, who are both staying fairly healthy. In fact, the defenders are weathering this storm fairly well. Decop goes low, is forced to jump away back towards Goliath and get healed up. And now the point's going to be tickled a bit. Kayun goes down. That's the first casualty of this game. Rena finds him over towards the left side. He's looking for behind the point. And now Decop's going to get a nano boost. Going to try and jump in here, see what he can do, but he's going to be immediately knocked up in the air. I think it was an attempted sleep dart that didn't connect, but Decop goes down. He was nano boosted. He's done. Pidmitsu gets desuited here, and the damage is definitely favoring the side of EnVision. They are getting more done here. Elki is up on the point. Coffee, as you can see, has been put to sleep. And now Goliath and Corey still need to be addressed here, but Elki should be surrounded out and dealt with fairly quickly. Be a quick rewind to try and stay alive.
And EnVision, they just won the poke war early on here. You do have the late EMP coming out as EG tries to stay in this, but they simply don't have the personnel on the point right here. And EMP or no EMP, they don't have the damage required to actually push us back out. So EnVision, in what was a slow push, they win the poke war, and eventually the kills follow. They're gonna finish off Kayun, and they're going to take this point rather decisively, Uber.
Yeah, I like this. It's a bit of a slower build up to this point, and we might see perhaps more decisive strikes from dive comps, but this is at least a way of, securing not only the fight win, but also 5 ultimates in the bag. This is a sick way to transition onto the second point if you really want to go for that shock and try and shake EG away from this point and see what you can do. But here comes the dive in. You see Rena going for the Dragon Blade in the backside, looking for Corey, who's been healed up so far, and Decop's doing a good job to keep Rena away from that 76, but eventually he finds his mark. Saini comes in, double kill with a tactical visor, and this is perfect. The bank of ultimates was their ZP for this fight.
The bank of ultimates certainly was there. Now the question is, can they stay on it and add on progress? Right now it's going well. They have 1 tick, about to get 2. Corey coming in for a last-ditch effort to try and pull this back, and it's working out. He gets Saini as Elke gets on McCravey. It's 3 kills coming back here for the side of EG, and EG, even though they gave up 1 tick, it's looking like that's going to stop here as Fire, the world status Lucio, going to get staggered in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, that was a sick fight coming back in from EG. It started off actually with Goliath hitting a sick bite grenade to get the first kill, and then attack visor, of course, forced out by Corey. Very nicely done, good recovery. They were in deep trouble, and that's actually burnt through a lot of the impetus, a lot of that key advantage that EnVision would have actually have had hitting that second point. You really need to execute on that. You really need to hold off the point, but they were maybe not ready for the reinforcements, and essentially these individual players were able to at least even their ledger in terms of kills when they got in. Now they do have the Flammer Rage. We've got a Pulse Bomb from McGravy. He needs to get a good stick with this one to make things happen. They're going in again.
Kayun right now holding on to the EMP, can use this to ruin the offensive push at any time, but he might be wasting too much time. Already 3 kills coming in from the offense. Kayun, if he had a window of opportunity, it might have gone. He's looking for the solo kill on the Ana. Doesn't get it right now, taking a lot of time. Eventually gets it, but has too much time been wasted. His team is dead all around him. He doesn't have a good opportunity at the EMP, and he's gonna get taken down. And suddenly, EnVision in the driver's seat once more. They're gonna cap this out. And I gotta say there, Uber, it feels like Kayun just held on to that EMP for far too long. He should have just been able to drop that on them.
Yeah, I mean, there probably were better opportunities earlier on for Kagan to let that one go. I don't actually think he expected there to be such a decisive refight engagement coming in from the EnVision guys as well. Also, ZP, your mic's cutting out a little bit when you're casting, mate. So if I do talk over you at some point, no beef, man. No beef. But yeah,
there's no beef. You're not trying to take full control of the stream. I understand how it is. That this is just the audio world in which we live in.
It's almost as if when the game gets louder, like you get quieter for me, but if the stream can hear it, that's not really a problem. That's cool with me. Yeah. But 4 minutes 33 on the clock, CP, that's pretty decisive, especially actually taking the point with an ultimate disadvantage.
It was really big. I mean, that was a fight that they really should not have been able to do as much on. And they caught EG completely off guard. And now EG has put themselves into a hole where not only do they have to finish out Volskaya, but I would say at a minimum, they probably need about 2 minutes left on their bank if they want the next round of attacks to be anywhere remotely winnable. If they end up finishing out the map and then have no time left, well, that's not going to be very good for them actually finishing things out. So not only is there pressure on EG here, there's more pressure than normal because of the time in which they really do need to come forward here and finish out Volskaya.
What do you reckon, Matt? Rod, any thoughts?
I mean, I would think EG would want that to go way better than it did, considering it's their map choice.
They hurt themselves. I mean, they had the EMP, they had the Primal, and then they popped the EMP in a 1v6 on the first point, didn't have for the second point. They actually almost got insta-capped on the first push from EnVision, and then wound up holding somehow. I think Elkia's Tracer wound up getting a few kills, but Yeah, I mean, the EMP was too fast in the first push and then too slow in the second, and it kind of wound up backfiring as much as we praised the Sombra pick.
Well, out of all the teams that they could do this against, EnVision actually has Fozix, who plays a ton of Sombra, so it's maybe not the smartest.
All right, well, the offense is going to be on its way here for the EG side. They have a fast time they need to set, and they're not wasting a whole lot of time getting in, but Decop goes down immediately, a little bit too far out. EG, this initiation not going well at all, and for EnVision, they're at full HP here, Uber. They are sitting pretty.
Yeah, they're looking really nice. They had hardly taken any damage. I mean, Rena has, but that's pretty easily healed up there. Obviously, bear in mind, there's a Zenyatta on the attacking side this time around, so that Discord Orb will be quite important to try and cut down. There's relatively heavy tank composition here, of course. There is 3 of them. It's going to be Sombra and Tracer for the DPS role, and I use that term lightly in the latter case. However, it's going to be Pigmitsu now as well. They're trying to get back around and up on the high ground here. That's what the setup's going to look like for EG. They've got the high ground, but we need a pause. Somebody's having problems.
Fire hasn't moved for the past, I don't know, 15 seconds. Just been sitting there, so I think they just didn't notice. But.
The camera point of view we have is actually Fozix just staring at Fire going, I will EMP to protect you, which, by the way, that is a very quick EMP getting built up, even by Sombra standards. But
Fire's just doing his best wins impression. It's not an issue. He needs to realize it's not favored on this map, though.
Yeah, that is a key flaw in that strategy, but we do want to report that Fire does have Twitter open, so he at least has half of the wins playbook down. But it looks like he is back in, and we should be unpausing here in just a moment.
Well, let's see if it affects them too much. It probably shouldn't. I mean, they're quite well aware now of the fact that there is that high ground setup here. Fire shouldn't really get picked off. Should be able to get back to the rest of his team. But I want to see now how EG uses high ground now and how they're going to engage with this one as well. Because there's a Tracer and a Sombra that they're going to be going up against here. Now they're going to go straight in Transcendent. That's going to back up the damage quite nicely. This is going to get very messy. In the middle of that one here. You've got to make life a little bit hard, but the Transcendence was already in effect. He finds Decop now, but Kaylin takes on McGravy. Now it's a 5v4 situation in favour, or at least it was of EG, but now it might be a tough one. Ball takes down Zany. No, he finds now the D-suited Diva, and Kaylin cleans up Kazak's pretty comfortably there as well. Nice positioning, drop down from the high ground and get it done. Beautiful double pulse on the Can't ask for much more of that. Coffee had a little bit of help there. Fire couldn't get away from that one at all. And there you go. Good positional setup there for EG to get
And EG going to be taking this point about as quick as they needed to here, where it would have been a little bit better if they got in first, but now with 6 minutes and 20 seconds left, they've left themselves with the ability to come in at that quick time. A lot of this will probably come down to Kaelin's Blade here, where he is going to have to work his way through a sound barrier from Fire, but there is a slight opportunity here, especially if they can get an early pickoff that doesn't relate to ultimates, but no, that is the exact opposite of what they needed. Rena goes fishing, finds Elkia, and puts an end to this EG push before it can even begin.
Not much more progress to be made there. Losing Elkia obviously fairly crucial in this particular situation, so they're going to back up. They're going to try and reset a little bit more here. The Tracer and the Genji, much to be done between these two, but Pigmitsu does have a self-destruct, and I want to see how this comes into effect here as well. How it forces positioning for the defenders, puts them in like a lose-lose position, or in German it's called a Zugzwang, by the way, which is a great way to describe a team being put in a position where they can't win either way. You can call it a lose-lose, but it's nicer to say it that way. Now the push comes in though, really getting jumped on in the backline. They annihilate the Roadhogs very, very quickly. Unfortunately for EG, it may not have been the right target, because Coffee and McGravy fight back with 2 quick kills. Now Pigmitsu left on the point, he just gets desuited and taken down pretty comfortable there. There was a chance for Fazix to try and chase for some kills on that Sombra, and yeah, they're going to stall this one out a little bit more. Pigmitsu eventually gets to freedom, and that's that.
The thing that was striking to me there about that push is that it was a very good counter-engage coming in there by Fozix, where even if EG had an even better push there, the EMP was just going to ruin their life moving in. Fozix hit most of the people he needed to with the EMP, and really just sealed the rest of that fight relatively easily for EnVision. And now you take a look at this next fight. He has an EMP up again. Uber, that is 2 EMPs fight. Like, when you have an EMP for every fight, what do? Because now, I don't think the offense realizes it. The sound barrier's coming in, and here comes Fozix, gonna drop the EMP, removes the sound barrier, and sets up EnVision for glory. As you see here, Coffee just going in deeper, staying on set point, cleaning up the people that really can't defend themselves from this. 3-1 in favor of EnVision, and he's gonna pile on just a little bit more. Just a great play by Fozix to set that up. And Uber, are you still there?
Yeah, well, I didn't hear any of your casting.
Yeah, I know, that's us.
But I guarantee, I'm sure it was really good. ZP, so I'll try and talk now for a moment. Pretty solid stuff though. I think not much to be said now, except there's the ult advantage standing with the defenders quite crucial. There's even a whole hog in the works here, so it might have to be a junk rush for EG here just to try and get some of the ultimates back.
It might have to be, as EG right now coming back in. Corey could open things up with an early pulse bomb and snowball it out from there, and he gets a stick in the back. Does not get the kill, but EG is right there, coming from the top right, looking to open things up. They get Rina early on, but it's not going to be enough as Coffee and McGravy strike right back. This is trading out back and forth, but generally speaking, defense can hold in this situation. And there's the MP.
Corey, it's all about Corey. Fantastic stuff from him so far over this fight now, and they're going to be pressure on towards Coffee. He's still staying alive. That's his 4th or 5th kill of the game, but the whole hog is going to be able to push him back. It's going to make it a little bit hard for him to do the work, and Fazix actually goes for the chunkier targets there and picks them off on his own. So again, it's going to be EG slowed up one more time. This is kind of interesting. It's like I have to guess when you stop talking for when I cast. That's next level stuff.
It is next level stuff where hopefully we'll get it sorted between this game and the next, where I'm just like, I hope he realizes that I've let off the gas here, but we'll find a way through it in any case. But EG right now coming in, they do have a nano boost at the ready. Not a whole lot else to help them here, where again, I do like this Roadhog here, where if they can get early pick, they can snowball it. They find Rina early on, now they have the 6v5, and if they take this slowly, they could turn this into a winning fight. That's 2 kills here so far. They're piling on, Uber. Now they're moving in, the Sound Bearer coming in, D-Cop swinging the hammer. The Sound Bearer means they're just gonna try and secure this out now. They like where this fight is going, and so far the defense really struggling to bring it back. Fazix not able to do much as Pete Mitsu with the whole hog takes down 3. EMP's gonna come out late into the fight, but there's not really many people alive to actually capitalize on that. So I have to say, so far, EG in a great position. Cue Uber.
Oh, I'm back now. Well, there's still a bit of fighting to be done here. Rina throws himself onto the point, gets himself on that ice block. We're going to get hooked in immediately by Pete Mitsu, and there's such a stranglehold on this point right now for EG. But still, Zany comes back in with a Farah here. Might be a little bit hard to reach over the fight. Pete Mitsu needs to find that hook, but no, Corey is going to find him there with the pistols easily enough. Great pulse bomb. Corey has had a fantastic last couple of fights. Once you let this guy off the chain, he's very, very hard to keep in your sights. Fire's going to get pushed up against the wall. Unfortunately, not much Fazix to do to protect him against the Zarya, but he's stalling still on his own. The next one will be Zany coming in from the up above, and McGrady getting on towards the point here, but they're immediately turned on. They're immediately focused down. Sound barrier now for EG as well, just to keep this one going, and that's looking pretty good. It's still going to be stalled out quite extensively here, I have to say, and that Graviton Surge is just used more as a precautionary measure. And Elkia finishes off the fight with 2 quick kills. A minute 17 remains on the clock here for EG. Not nearly as good as their opposition, and you can see they struggled losing early picks in those fights.
No, it certainly wasn't as explosive, but I will say I do like the swaps that they came up with, and I do like the approach they took to getting in there towards the very end. I think that for maps like Assault, Roadhog is still, at points, criminally underrated, because what you're looking for is a fight that snowballs out of control, where you don't simply win the fight, but you crush the fight. And Roadhog is one of the very best heroes you can bring in, because if you get that early pick-off, you can get 6v5 when everyone on your team still has full HP, and you're greatly increasing the chances of having it go your way, which in that case, it did. Now, I'm going to throw here to Slasher and Flame for a second here, guys, and we saw what EG came up with their attack there. What are your guys' thoughts?
I think Fazix was just the better Sombra at the end of the day. I mean, he had EMP. They were abusing it, to be, like, I'll just be frank. They were using it and getting it very, very fast, and he wound up going just diving on Goliath a lot. He forced out sound barriers, he canceled them, then they popped trans. He just forced out a lot of support ults. The hero was very good, and they played around it pretty well. It was just, I think, 1 or 2 unlucky picks for the defense that wound up leading to them even getting wiped, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, and ZP, you called it. Like, I didn't really think that EG picked this because that Kayn was going to play Sombra. Maybe it was, but to do this against EnVision, against a player like Fazix, who really has practiced Sombra since she came out at the very beginning, maybe not the best decision, because out of the 2, he is definitely, in my eyes, the better of the 2 Sombras.
Well, we do have the first engagement underway. EG moving in, piercing through to the right, and they find Rina early on. Rina, overextending just a little bit, immediately punished, creating a big opportunity for EG on their 2nd consecutive attack. And with them demeching Zany, this is looking very good for them right now, Uber, where they should be able to apply pressure and take this about as clean as you can expect.
I mean, this is spiraled out of control. It's just a standard snowball fight here. This is what a dive comp can do for you. You can see the Elkie able to, again, pick up 2 kills on the backside. It opened up beautifully there as well with that early pick, and from there it just kind of blew out of control. Not much more to really say about it. The higher ground control is really nice. You can see it actually allows them to make sure that their tank is the first in line as well. Also helps them get picks, especially if the defensive team's going to, set up their weaker heroes on the high ground. Easy to pick off on them, and now they're going to be moving on to the second point. So I'll be hearing you duck in and out of hearing ZP, so if you don't hear me talk, just keep going, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, EG now, 30 seconds left. They got an extra 30 for taking control of the point. Now this is do or die, where they're going to have to use a Transcendence to give them the health they need to move in. Unfortunately for them, Fozix has the EMP, so this is going to be a difficult fight for EG to win, but they still have some opportunity here, especially since, of course, EMP doesn't stop the Transcendence in progress. Either way, EG, 12 seconds left. They're going to have to make their move soon. Fozix coming on the flank. The EMP likely to come in from the right side. So we'll see how this works, but here they go.
Yep, engagement coming in here. It's going to be the EMP over the middle of that fight here. Sound barrier as well. Going to be working out for EG at this stage, and it's beautiful. They've also used the Transcendence. There's a lot invested in this fight for EG to make it work, and it seems to have paid off. This is what they couldn't do the first time. Make their second point first hit so effective. Used all those ultimates they've saved up, and now Coffee's trying to stall out, but he's taken down in midair. Fozix now just going to jump across the point, of course, with his translocator, but there's not much to be done here. The next out is probably going to be Rena, who'll just have the dash onto the point. There's a Demon out for Sani to try and stall this out. Just Dragonblade better hit, but Elkie manages to dodge past it now. Defense Matrix on the point, but Sani can't save Rena from being taken down. Now the Sound Barrier comes in. We're still in overtime, ZP.
We are still in overtime, but EG is in a great position right now, but they lose their Lucio, so now they really need to finish this out quickly. They don't want to get into a situation where they're bleeding out kills. McGravy coming in, and right now we're seeing EnVision trying to fight it back. EnVision's still losing people, but you see the stall coming from Fozix. Sends an Icicle right up where the sun doesn't shine to Kayun, but it is not enough. That is going to be an enormous attack by EG, catching EnVision off guard and bringing themselves right back into this game. Now, the pressure I feel to some degree is back on EnVision, where you're not guaranteed to finish out full Sky in 4.5 minutes. You simply aren't.
Corey's a monster. That was such a sick fight from him there as well. And obviously a Tracer off the leash can do a lot, but that Pulse Bomb on towards Coffee was really crucial in closing that out. That could have been a far longer stall.
I mean, we said they wanted 2 minutes. They did it with 1.5 minutes. That was pretty impressive. I think that they kind of, I mean, we saw there too, Rena died really early in the first engagement, and then I think they made the mistake of trying to live too long, and they wound up feeding a lot more ult percentage to the side of EG. The side of EnVision did, so they wound up getting snowballed pretty hard. They put up a fight, but I mean, at the end of the day, there were still 3 people alive.
So let me ask you this, Rod. The first fight we saw here where EG was defending, they just got poked down and they weren't really able to finish out any kills. Is that just simply getting outplayed, or would you expect to see them switch something up here for this next defense where they still have to hold for 4.5 minutes?
Well, it doesn't look like they did end up switching anything. I would think it got outplayed. Maybe just a lack of, very good positioning on this map. I still think teams, especially in the West, are really trying to figure out where you're supposed to put all your players here on this map. And they just have to do a better job of getting K and his ult. I mean, that's really, what this comp's all about.
Well, the offense is on its way. EnVision working with that 4 minutes, and I'd expect to see more of the same here, Uber, where they weren't really too keen on super diving in, but once they felt they had a poke advantage, they did take advantage of it, as they, very similar to EG here, they are moving up this right side and taking it a little bit slow.
And this is the generally accepted way to play out this point, at least between these two teams. That's the gentleman's agreement right now. They're going to make the way out from under that Mega and going to push forward a little bit here in just a moment. Obviously, that Mega's hacked, which is actually really quite annoying at this stage for EnVision to have to deal with. But you can see they're using Coffee and McGravy, who may have just gone a little bit deep and is going to be forced to circle back around here to start off this fight. Zany stays very safe inside that Mega room here, but McGravy, yeah, he went a little bit too deep. I feared this would be the case. He gets taken down by Kayun, but Rena responds. It's a 5v5 right now on the point.
Rena right now with no fear taking on this Ana Soldier combo, but getting slept and destroyed. Helix Rocket, a lot more explosive than the Trank Dart, taking him out immediately and giving EG more life in this fight, where now it was looking a bit rough because they lost Winston, but they're fighting it back, and no one's really dealing with Corey here, Uber, where he has all the room in the world to work with, and oh, look at that. The Winston leaps in is immediately slept. Pure beauty coming out there from Goliath.
Yeah, great sleep dart. And I mean, this is the response coming out from EG. If EnVision are going to take high ground on one side, they'll take it on the other. They'll play with their hit scan combo. It's going to be the Ana and Corey sat as a 76 there just to support him. He can do so much damage there. It's so hard to answer him. You can see now Rina tries to go for the Dragon Blade, but that's a massive waste. A massive waste. It's 1v3. There's an Ana who can just probably sleep you again. He's thrown that one away to the fishes. So he still has that. Fortunately, he keeps it.
I was going to say, Mitch, it would be a massive waste, but the game said, actually,
Lucky.
you get to keep this Dragon Blade. We had the ref come in, he looked at it, the blade never came out of its sheath, so he gets to keep that Dragon Blade for another attempt here, and that actually could be the determining factor. Sadie will be back in with the tack visor, and here comes the blade. Diving into the room, and this time he connects. Picking up 2 and looking for more. So him keeping the Dragon Blade, actually a huge deal in EnVision coming back, and very likely now taking this first point.
Yeah, I'd say that's done for him really there. I mean, a great engage. To be fair, the Swift Strike from Rina actually secured that first kill anyway, so he chose his dive quite well, and it was a generally fairly well executed dive. This time, they didn't bother setting up on the far side as well. They just sort of pushed in because they knew where EG's core was. They get the point. That took a little bit longer for EnVision than it otherwise should have, given how they started. They have still a good alt bank after that fight. The problem is they're going up against a fairly well-developed one themselves.
Yeah, and for EnVision right now, Sani is just trying to get positioning, but he's going to get booped and bopped away by the Primal Rage, so he's going to have to give up that high ground, at least for now. EnVision, though, making forward progress here, looking for the ability to get in, pushing the Winston back. Decop lucky to get out of there with his life, and this is somewhat good for EnVision. The problem is that they did lose their Winston in the process, which basically kills the entire push. They're going to have to pull back, even though they could have turned that into something decent.
Yeah, I mean, you need it. I mean, they now have a Diva in the mix, of course, still, EG, that is, but if you don't have a Winston, then it's literally just your Genji going in. It's just not enough. You really need him. He's so integral, and he shouldn't get picked off first unless you're already committed to the fight. So it's a little bit annoying that would happen for EnVision. But now they have 5 ults. They've just had the nano boost tick over. That would be crucial. But Rina doesn't have his Dragon Blade. It might be, you could use it with Sani, but with a Diva on the other team, it's not worth the risk of using a nano visor. They're going to use it anyway.
Well, as you say that, the nano visor comes out. Sani looking for anything he can get, then will be able to kit the Diva, but not much else. Proving why you don't do that as a self-destruct takes him down. Here comes Kayon. This EMP is charged right now. He's waiting for the right opportunity. He's going to have to use it sooner rather than later. This is a losing fight so far for EG. Kayon going to try and bring it back. EMP's 3, but takes a blade right to the face as EnVision looking to bring this one right back. 1 minute left here. And remember, if they cap this out here, there's no extra time that's going to be allotted to the EG side. So this is looking very good for EnVision.
Yeah, it's looking great. This is what they needed there. The tack visor didn't quite work out, but it's still, the job was done by the rest of the team there as well. It was a desuited Diva. The self-destruct didn't get much except Sani. It was a 1-for-1 trade. And now Coffee up above. They're pushing back here. Still, it's being held onto for quite some time, and EG need to try and get this clock down to 0. They need this to be in overtime. That's the aim of the game right now. But Mitsu gets himself back on towards the point, and Elkia, look, now they can stagger this. One by one, they're going to go in. Decop comes in over the top, but guess who's waiting? Elkia is there. Goliath's there. It was a good pulse bomb from Agravian. Now the Tracy can do a lot of damage. This is normally when she doesn't, thrive as much on this point when they're trickling in. And this is annoying. This is really annoying for EnVision. They really want to try and close this out ASAP, but one by one, the trickle is stopping them.
EnVision has 14 seconds left to cap this. If they don't, it's going to be completely even. As EG holding things on, they're coming back onto delay. They have a fresh Diva on the point. They have a Sombra up and ready. They should be able to delay this the last 4 seconds. EnVision will not succeed in winning this game right here. Time is going to end, and that is going to lead to potentially a draw, but also EG can fight this back, and they are. Decop takes down 2. Is EG going to hold here towards the end? It is so back and forth between the two, but EnVision coming right back in. It's Coffee at the Primal Rage, making more room, and Mitsu now again, just trying to delay for respawns to come in once more.
Yeah, this is pretty insane. Mitsu again, this needs to start once again. They need to do a bit of a trickle here, but with Coffee only there's not a lot of damage available here. Mitsu stayed alive far longer than he otherwise should have, and now Elkia gets an Ana boost. Interesting choice, and that's it. Oh. I can't believe it. EnVision has stopped from getting that last point. They can't be happy about that one, but I mean, grats to EG. They were behind by like 3 minutes when it came to the second run through, and they really perfected their attack on this map to take it away. Even the cheeky little blizzard at the end, just to add insult to injury. I'd be mighty upset if I was EnVision.
If I felt like I was watching a desperate Kickstarter there at the very end coming out from EG, where it's just like, guys, we really want Reinhardt versus a full-on dive. How important is it going to be to see Kayon really keep Coffee in control here when Coffee dives in?
Well, massively. I mean, if he wants to keep the damage remotely even, he needs to pick a DPS off pretty much at the start of the fight, because he just doesn't have the output that's going to be required. So we'll see how they sort of deal with that early damage coming through. You can see that Rena's already been taken quite low. Note that Coffee's sitting up the top inside the main observatory area, so we'll see when he chooses to jump on Goliath, or who it will be. Interestingly enough, he does drop down. Rena finds Goliath, so that's that little dive completed. But in the meantime, Elkia and Corey managed to find themselves 2 kills. It's actually a 5v4 at this stage. Kaon again, that's at Roadhog doing work. Every time that hook's off cooldown, the damage is going to be there. It's super consistent. There's another one.
And he does land his first hook of the game. The secondary fire, though, was treating him just fine. It does do quite a bit of damage. Its spread recently tightened, so there's times where Roadhog can be deceptively powerful even when the hooks aren't going his way, and for now, this has been working out for EG. They got early control, and they can stay relatively meaty about it. Now, they did lose Reinhardt, which means that this is going to be a moment for the offense to come in and really dive with reckless abandon. They don't have to worry about getting shielded off, and they are doing just that. They're pushing EG way off the point right now, Uber.
Yeah, but really sick biting grenade from Goliath there to keep them topped up. He's going to make it really hard, and Rena actually fell off the map. I'm not sure if that was... That can't have been on purpose. He died. I think he dived too far with a Swift Strike and ended up just stacking it. So that's a bit of a big blooper, especially when he had a Dragon Blade that he could have used in essentially his own volition there. Fire being kept alive just a little bit longer. It's fine if the point is stalled because it's in control of EG, and this is a commanding start for them. Now Decop's back. He's going to have an Earth Shadow soon.
I am eternally amused by Kahoon right now, where who needs hooks? He's had terrible hook luck, but he's been working the scrap gun to maximum efficiency, getting kill after kill in that last fight. It has been beauty to watch, but here comes the engage. It's going to be a Primal Rage to disrupt, and a Dragon Blade set back, and Rena immediately getting dropped by Corey. The sound barrier dropped by EG keeps their team well and alive, and Corey is there in the punish. So the dive offense coming in from Vision, not really able to crack the more meatiness of the EG comp, Uber.
Well, I mean, the Earth Shadow shut them down really early in that fight, and if Arena didn't end up dying to Corey, he would have died to the Earth Shadow damage anyway. He was right up back behind him. Everyone was focused on that Genji. So a lot of ultimates burnt there for very little, and now there's even Whole Hog just to help here at the front door, kind of like that big bouncer you don't want to deal with. And he'll just be working with Decop a little bit here. There's also going to be a nano boost available with Corey's tactical visor. This could be quite nasty now. That's going to come out. There was a Winston bubble in the way, but now Corey can get involved in the fight. Problem is, it's a little bit too late. Decop and Elkia were quite far forward from the rest of their team. They had a wedge driven in between them, and now Rena's just running nuts.
And finally, we see EnVision able to get control of the point off of that dive, and they even have some resources in reserve to help defend this. And for them, they're gonna have to stagger this out for quite a while here, Uber, where they will have to win a few disadvantaged fights simply because they have to hold for the rest of the map. One lost fight here for EnVision will result in a loss of the round, and you gotta think that the sound barrier from Fire is gonna be integral and them holding out here, especially with the early pickoff. So Fire gonna have to drop the sound barrier, and they're gonna need to get very quick engage if they want to hold on to this.
Yeah, but look at the position from Tsani. There's not much that can actually deal with him up there right now, so they need to fight inside the server room, which is not necessarily ideal. But Rena gets charged. That is sick. Decop, nicely done. That's going to turn this fight around pretty comfortably, at least help out in a big way. Coffee's split off from the rest of his team. He's probably going to get taken down if the focus is going to be there. And Fire, while managing to find Pimitsu, this is an absolute mess of a fight. A good bionic grenade on towards Kaon to keep him alive, and Earth Shatter, they're not really having the intended effect. Farzik's doing real damage now on this Zenyatta.
Well, EG, they were able to cap the point that, but not able to throw the rest off. A pulse bomb comes in, not really needed to end Kaon's life there. But the important thing for EnVision is that they have recapped control of the point. They have 2 to 3 fights left to go if they do want to bring this round all the way back. But that was a good start. There was a lot of resources used there by EG that did not end up working out. And they still have Transcendence to help defend in this next fight. So EnVision, with good positioning, we'll see if they're able to capitalize as Coffee dives right in.
Yeah, it just drops down. He actually has another jump pack charge available. That's why I love it. Drop down and then he can jump away. However, the damage was there. Even though Tsani's up above doing good DPS, especially as he hits that rocket on towards Corey, it's just him. Kaon just needs to go up and deal with him there. There was a sound barrier going for EG. They got 3 on the point there, and that's going to be pretty comfortable. Now we're into overtime. It had to be a Primal Rage pop by Coffee, but he gets charged off the point. He's still got that tick, though. He still keeps it going, and that's actually a good sign. The rest of EG is still filtering in to try and fight.
This fight is not over here yet. EnVision doing their best to hold it back out, and they trade 5 versus 5 here to open things back up once more. So EnVision still with a bit of life. They're not getting progress anymore, but with 4 kills, Uber, they are going to be retaking this point. It's Fozix getting 2 kills as Zen towards the very end. Although look at this delay coming out here from Can. Drops right back in and still buys more time.
Really nice fight from the supports there as well. I think Farzix and Fire between them had 4 kills. And I actually like that. It was an unconventional use of Coffee's Primal Rage there. I'm pretty sure to give him an extra jump into that fight as well. He could cover the distance better. He could stall that one out. They knew that EG was still scattered as well. So they knew they actually had a good chance of winning that fight if they managed to get up close enough. Zany and Coffee, again, are going to be a big factor. Coffee drops down, in my opinion, a little bit preemptively here, but he's still going to jump into the back line. The Earth Shatter gets nothing. Beautiful bubble. Coffee put it right on top of D-Cop, denying that.
Well, D-Cop, though, gets revenge. Somehow finds McGravy on the charge, taking him out. And here comes EG, looking to bring this right back. Kaon falls, but the damage has been done. EG might be bloodied, but they certainly have a numerical advantage here on this point. And now it's just the last moment delay from Phozix. Uses Transcend to buy some time and backs out. D-Cop gets picked off, and EnVision might be on the verge of pulling this one back here, Uber. This would be epic. The stick comes in. Corey is blown up, and EnVision well on their way to bringing this one back. It's a last moment sound barrier now from EG, but they are not in a good state.
And that's going to be it. Oh, wow. Lord. That's pretty nuts from EnVision to actually bring that one back towards the end. Really nice by Tsani actually in that last fight, and their support players doing some serious work, man. Phozix is freaking good on Zenyatta.
So, I want to ask this to the analysts here, where we saw that Kaon, in the middle of the matchup when they lost control, he fires Roadhog. He sends Roadhog to go work for United Airlines, and then he goes on to the Genji. Was that a good swap, or should he have just stopped on the Roadhog?
You're gonna have to repeat the question, Z.
No, I think I got it. I think I can answer, actually. I think that the swap would have been better if they had swapped the Reinhardt too, because D-Cop stayed on the Reinhardt the entire game, and they wound up running a Reinhardt Genji comp towards the end, and I don't think it really paid off.
Yep, I'd say it's pretty accurate. He really needs to go to Winston or D.Va, and even then, that would force Goliath to go to Zen, and we have to see how much maybe that is part of it, because Goliath really tends to like playing Ana more than he does Zen in these matchups.
Well, EG right now already getting pushed back a bit by this EnVision offense, and yet they punish fire early on. Kaon, not able to do much, ends up on the wrong end of a D.Va. 5 versus 5 early on. EnVision with better positioning, but not good health. They're all very much poked down, and they need to back out. Most of them do back up and heal, but it's still very even between the two. However, here comes Corey with good positioning, picks down 2, and now not a whole lot on him here. Does have a Pharah trying to poke at him, but the Pharah is ignoring the rest of the team, and EG should be able to finish out the rest of this fight.
Yeah, a couple issues there. We actually saw that there wasn't really enough healing actually on the side of EnVision at all. Phozix actually had to spend the whole time healing Sani. He was being pressured so heavily that, McGravy got no healing. Coffee also struggled to really get any attention, and Fire couldn't do it all on his own. So this Pharah needs to really be effective in this next fight to really justify its existence at all. Last fight, it was just straight up not good. The bubble now inside the point here for D-Cop, able to give a bit of shielding, but Elkia goes down. That's a barrage being drawn out there. Clearly the damage was there for Tsani in the last fight, but it's only a one-man barrage. It should still be enough now, as it's a 6v4 on the point.
It's looking good for EnVision, but they don't have it here just yet. This is a point that you really can delay pretty heavily on as the defending team, and even though they pick up 2 more key kills on the Winston and Ana, EnVision still has to work to remove the last few people from this point. Pete Mitsu is delaying quite a bit. You have Elkia coming in, but immediately shut down. So this is all the way momentum for EnVision, but it's still good delay by EG to squeeze out every last bit of progress before the point eventually flips.
Yeah, it's sick. Just die on the point. You just tell your team, die on the point, get as many percentages as you possibly can, even do some damage and work up a bit of an ult bank for the next fight. That's really crucial. What might be an issue now is with the Resurrect being present here for Phozix, and there's a lot of ults actually, even the sound barrier come up. So both support ultimates being there, and with Goliath now on this Zenyatta not having the Transcendence, not even being remotely close, it could be a little bit nasty. Also, D.Va's a really good gatekeeper. She just stands in the way, blocks a lot of this damage, allows Coffee getting in the back line, and D-Cop has to walk over to his team and drop a bubble. All he can do is stop McGravy from doing damage, and that's it. He was completely outmaneuvered in that fight, and now he's on his own. He pops the Primal Rage. He's going to try and knock Phozix off the edge, but even that doesn't work.
I don't like that Primal Rage at all. There's still so many members of his team dead. What are you doing there? You are buying a little bit of room, perhaps, but the odds that you're actually going to flip that fight, not really great. Corey right now getting isolated by D.Va, pooped quite a bit away, somehow lands on the other edge, but EnVision, they hold strong, and Uber, they have no reservations about holding really far up here, where this is already a difficult map for an offense to come back in and retake, but when you have a defense getting in your face this far up and being effective with it, it makes things even more difficult. However, the window is coming up here for the offense. No.
We're going to push in now anyway. Saini will still be benefiting from a little bit of that damage boost. He has another barrage available now. Self-destruct going into the mix. The bubble wasn't quite enough. Decop still fell. He valiantly tried to defend the rest of his team, but now the rest of those ultimates are just going to start to filter through. Saini doesn't feel the need to use barrage yet at this stage, and why would you? The rest of EG are forced to drop off the edge and be done with it here. And remember, that resurrect that Fazix has had for the whole round, at least after that first fight, is still there.
Well, sometimes heroes never die, literally, where you don't have to bring them back up because no one has died. For EG, they're going to have to look to finish this off here in this next fight to reverse the course. Kayun, in the back, holds a Dragon Blade. Gonna want to get hit by the sound barrier when he goes in here, but no, he just comes in from the back, looking to ninja this just a little bit. No pun intended, he is a cyber ninja. Dragon Blade's still on, and here it comes. Looking to the back, trying to get him the K, Fazix, but the resurrection comes in, and EnVision still coming out a bit ahead here to open things up.
Yeah, Sony trying to get a little bit of damage done there, but they're eventually going to lose this fight. The tempo resurrect wasn't enough actually to keep EnVision really in fighting form. Coffee and Saini getting kills here is very big. If they can actually stay alive just a little bit longer, Saini needs to keep up off the ground. There also is McGravy there. He's going to get cut down, but Goliath was also felled. Now, I mean, now if you Coffee, you just really back off this point. There's no value in being there. It's already been captured out. They're going to have to go for a full regroup and go for a full fight. And it's a bit of a risk here because there's really not many ultimates at all on the side of EnVision here. They actually got very little to work with, so they need enough time to have a junk rush or a successful dive that even overcomes that ultimate advantage, and then a second successful fight if they have time. So it might be a bit rough here.
The problem for EnVision is that if they lose this fight because of the attack visor, you're going to have both Sound Barrier and Transcendence close to being up, if not up already. So there's no great junk rush opportunity here, where I think their best chance is probably to win this fight here, get on the core in the back, but they're slow playing this pretty heavily. Here comes the Transcendence, so they will burn that out, and here comes attack visor. Corey going to the back, nothing in his way, going to finish those last few kills. The upside there, I guess, is that they did at least get rid of the Transcendence. They will have one more fight to come back in, but they don't have much time where their positioning will be terrible for this final fight.
No, it's not going to be good. They're really not really going to have enough time, to be honest. Coffee's going to have to jump on. They're not going to have a full fight. It's going to be a trickle. Fire dying just then is really bad now. He's another 8 seconds away. Coffee on the point dies. It's just a trickle. It's going to be just that. Fazix might have a res, but they're like, no, see there, he gets cut down before he can even use it. Kayon comes in with the Dragon Blade there, the only ultimate really carried through, and now it's a matter of EG just getting more and more ultimates coming through. Doing more damage. Sound Barrier used to keep them alive. LQ gets the boot kill on McGravy, and that should really be it. Fire will keep it going a little bit longer here. Coffee can just touch down on the point there. You saw the attempt from Decop to block him from getting there on that Diva. Didn't quite work out. That is going to be it though. And there is no better illustration of how important ultimate economy is on control than on that round there.
Well, specifically to the point of ult economy, and let me just throw this to our two analysts, but here's what I look at when I see that situation. You had a lot of ultimates up on the EnVision side. They didn't need to fight ultimate for ultimate in that final fight. They could have let EG come in, use all their ultimates, and get the free win, and then just come back with ultimates of their own, get the counter win, and finish out the round. Do you think that Western teams are sometimes too gung-ho on trying to win every fight, where with a more cerebral mind there, you actually could have had EnVision just let off the gas, take a loss, and then come back for a more guaranteed win?
It comes down to that Mercy pick, I think, at the end of the day for me. It's like, you get the res off, you win the fight, but they didn't win the fight, and then they were stuck with the Mercy the whole time as opposed to the Zen. I think that they were supposed to have that point under lock when they wound up taking it with the Mercy, but once you lose it, it's really, really hard to take it back.
In any case, the fight is underway. EnVision outside looking in. They give up interior positioning to EG, but Saini over the top picks down 2, and suddenly EnVision, they crack the cookie, so to speak, and they are going to most likely grab this first point.
Yeah. Corey going down so early in the fight. Saini has just pole position now to do so much damage from that. He really pounds it out, by the way. You can see that he actually has a barrage. And, you know, Rena has a pulse bomb, but you know how hard barrage can be to generate sometimes as a Pharah. He's got that in the first fight. That's really sick. No necessarily any need to use it coming into this next fight at all. Saini just wants a little bit more extra free damage looking over the top here. And here's the setup. You see Coffee actually going to sit over towards the side. Saini, and keep an eye here as well on McGravy if he wants to knock anyone out of position. Barrage comes in, Pulse Bomb as well, so both those ultimates used here, and we see the hook coming in from KN, but it won't be enough. It's just going to be the one kill there that's really going to be helping things out for EG.
And for a Pharah, that is a perfectly fine trade where you know that when you go to activate a barrage, your odds of living usually not great. It's not something where if you're applying for life insurance, you would absolutely be denied. But if you take down one and damage others, that's more than enough to win the fight. Now, that said, EG does have reinforcements coming in, and perhaps there's a little bit too much of a dive coming in there for EnVision because now EG getting more momentum. But Saini again over the top, gets 2 and gets the boop kill for good measure. Saini is having himself one heck of a Pharah game right now.
Yeah, he's dominating that fight. It's pretty straightforward. I think you saw it on camera there as well, Tony. Again, there wasn't really too much to answer him, especially when Corey dies early in a fight, or at least he's bubbled or something by Coffee. He can't deal with this Pharah. Kaon needs to hit a hook, and that's not easy to do nowadays. We're going to see them come around from the right side now. Kaon going to be pushing forward. He really knows he needs to get rid of this Pharah. Saini's going to have his second barrage in 3 fights, and he has it available now. That's really scary. Hook connects, McGravy's put to sleep, and look at Coffee, immediately there with the bubble. Stops so much damage from coming across. Now's the chance here for a disengagement from EnVision to set up on the point proper.
EnVision, they're just backing up fully. They know they have ultimate reserve, and now they can come right back in with a sound barrier and a resurrection if necessary. And the resurrection will absolutely be necessary. Phazix needs to bring those heroes right back up. Everyone's dying on the point, but there's a resurrection and there's a sound barrier. Beta 1 tactics in action as the barrage comes in and removes Pimitsu from the fight. EnVision still very much in this fight, but they are 5 versus 5 now as Kaon clears house with that whole hog. Kaon piling on, picking up 2 extra before it's all said and done. Again, this man does not need Hook to just reap death across the battlefield. Uber, are you there?
Oh, I just heard you then. Thank God. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. Look, pretty straightforward stuff. The hooks have been really, really good from Kaon. He's hooking McGravy first. Get the DVD suited. Then it was a simple matter of Corey coming in with attack visor. He got himself 2 kills off of that one. That's a 1 fight. Even with the Pharah, even with a sound barrier Pharah, the barrage was not very effective. It wasn't a good angle. Now we need to see that happen again. Again, look, McGravy gets desuited first. Now that Soldier 76 has a lot more capacity to do damage. A good pulse bomb finds Goliath, but Corey now is starting to pop off a little bit. He's going to have his tack visor already in this fight again. It's going to be very, very hard for EnVision to retake this point. It's a flow chart. You get rid of the Diva, you let Corey go hand, get the damage done. If Corey's not focused down, which he's not being, by the way, because it's a Tracer and Pharah comp, he can do so much.
And here comes attack visor away from Corey. No, it's not in time. Saini with the barrage takes down 2 before falling in turn. So EnVision coming right back onto this point with authority. The Earth Shatter is dropped, does set up for 1 kill, but EnVision successfully retakes a point. Now the question is, can they hold it, as here comes a Nano Hog to the party, mostly getting mitigated by the defensive matrix, though McGravy goes for a ride and cannot jet boost right back in. So EG not going quietly into that good night, will retake. And Uber, they are really just 1 fight perhaps away from winning this round.
I mean, that was really nice from Kaon as well. He came into that fight at pretty much just the right time, and you could see that McGravy was trying to prevent a lot of that damage coming through, but he got 3 kills with the whole hog, which is actually quite extraordinary, especially without a Graviton Surge being used. That's really important. But let's keep an eye on this next fight. There's going to be 2 support ultimates available for EnVision. They have the res. They actually have a self-destruct as well. Now, Coffee goes in for the back on his own. What a perfect job to jump in there. Saini followed up the damage from Coffee really nicely. Sound barrier being used, but it's a little bit too late here. They're already down 3 men. Self-destruct, desperately flung onto the point. Nothing more found with that. Reno with 2 kills and Saini over the top there. That's a nice fight for EnVision. They are really keeping this one competitive. They're going to have this point. There's not going to be any reinforcements. There's no chance for it. And we're going to be 2-1 in this series. And nicely done by EnVision to break back here in this round.
And I gotta say, Saini using all the advantages of Pharah very well there in terms of just using terrain, hiding out from certain positions, getting very good ambush barrages off, where anytime he used a barrage, he made sure it was at least a 1-to-1 trade, but usually it was 1 to 2, if not more, and certainly a lot of damage to go with it. So Saini showing us that he has the Pharah in his back pocket and using it rather effectively there. So I will throw this real quick to either of our analysts. We're taking a look at the composition coming back in here as we move back to Control Center, and we're seeing again EG come out with the tank heavy setup. Do you think we're going to see Kaon swap again?
I hope not. I mean, it worked out for them. I think that was their best chance of winning this map last time, was when they were running the Roadhog, and it kind of hurt them when they got off it, but we'll see what they choose.
And this point is pretty good for tanks anyway in the count they're running.
Alright, so Kaon right now on the Roadhog once more, looking for hooks, or at the very least looking for scrap gun shots, and Uber, EG is taking this relatively slow here, just staying together. It's the buddy system on the high ground.
Well, they also want to make the most use of the Reinhardt shield for decop there, so they do want to play within those more narrow passageways. But by the time they decide to start the fight, Corey found the Tracer straight away. Then Elkia got in the face of Sadie, so the focus fire has been really good. Tracer, then 76, and then where's your damage, bro? There's none left. So just follow up now, quite comfortably get rid of the supports. Nicely done. Rena stays alive fairly long into the fight and can even survive, but good focus fires is next to godliness, and that was what we saw from EG there.
EnVision, the one upside for them at the very least is that though they lose the first fight, Rena has the Dragon Blade already, and no! Crunch against the wall! And this time he does not get a refund. The referee has judged that the blade did leave the sheath.
Oh, that's so dirty, dude. He was, oh god. All right. I mean, I hope we got to see that on camera. I can't tell, but that was
we
disgusting.
absolutely did. Oh, man.
So dirty. Anyway, set up here as well. Decop's going to again be using that shield, so a lot of this poke damage gets mitigated. That's one of the advantages of the Reinhardt. This is such a smart play, though. Kaon completely caught out of position. Great call to jump on top of him for EnVision. Gives him the first kill, but they lose Arena in the process after he goes in. More work to be done, for sure. Going to be the attack advisor coming out from Corey here, but Farsic responds well with that Transcendence. Great timing to do that. It's going to completely nullify the use of that ultimate. Really love that. Corey finds Sadie now as well. He was up on the high ground trying to be cute, but it doesn't work out. EG are looking pretty solid now. The sound barrier ticks away, but it's done its job for now. Coffee gets dropped. Corey's doing so much damage in this fight. He's found some very key targets, and now it's just the supports left alive again. What are you going to do, bro?
His name might be Corey, but right now he is the garbage man, because when you get into garbage time in a fight, when it's 3 versus 3 that's left in, no one can really get on Corey and stop him. He is being utterly oppressive on his 76 play right now, and it's very obvious that when he's able to live towards the end of a fight, it's usually going to be EG's fight to lose. EG now 85%, one fight away from taking this, and Corey dunks on Sadie to start things out. This is a very good start from EG, as it's all hands on deck and all resources in for EnVision. Here comes Dragon Blade from Rena, gets one, gets two, and that will be EnVision taking the point, but they had to use a lot of their reserve to retake it.
Look, I mean, again, Decop doesn't get a lot of value with his Earth Shadow, which doesn't mean that he's not great, by the way. It just means it's very hard to do. You're going up against a team that's diving on you. You're also positioned out in the open as a Reinhardt. It's very, very hard to connect that, but you kind of need to. To justify that Reinhardt, you need to be hitting that Earth Shadow. That's an instant fight winning. It's such a squishy composition if you can make it happen. But now we're back to what we saw first time this map came along, ZP. Sadie and Coffee sitting up on top. They're going to be able to split EG in half if Coffee drops down correctly. Or just harass really effectively. The Gravy just completely messed up that pulse bomb. Don't know if you saw that, but a good little bio grenade here to keep EG alive. Decop finds the Gravy, punishes him there for that mistake with the pulse bomb. And now EG just allowed this fight to come to them. They're doing very well to bait aggression.
The problem here for EnVision, that Sadie was on top but had no one to attack while the sides were just bidding around like a rabid pack of wolves. So Sadie, very ineffective here, ends up dying to the fire strike, and I gotta say, EG played this fight very well, where they just played around Sadie's sightlines, got one kill, got two, and snowballed it in. So keeping a soldier on top, not always the best decision if your team is vulnerable to shots from other angles, and as a result, EG is going to come back in, take the round, and force a round number 5.
Well played there, really. I mean, they're not necessarily playing around getting out of Sadie's sight lines. They're actually trying to use that side room, because obviously the Road Dog can do a lot there. The Reinhardt can do a lot there. It's easy charges, easy fire strike damage, and obviously easy to work that hammer. So it's just kind of coincidental that Sadie gets cut out of the fight a lot of the time there, and Coffee can't effectively isolate those individuals.
Blame, Slasher, any quick thoughts before the 5th and final round?
I'm glad Goliath is starting out on Zen on this point. Before you went Ana, didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, considering they ran triple DPS last time. I think Zen is the right call, and if they can shut down Tassini's Farret in the first fight, they will have a much easier time than they had in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, agreed. Retaking with Mercy is near impossible on maps like this, because you have to kind of walk past the enemy team to get back into the point.
Also, we do have an update from the lower bracket. NRG is out of the tournament. They went down to Gale Force Esports in the lower part of the bracket, so sad times for NRG fans. Regardless, though, we are getting into this final round as Coffee gonna find Goliath early on. The dive on the Zen successful, and now EnVision with an edge on this first fight. 3-1, they should be able to take this pretty comfortably.
Yeah, very convincing opening for them there as well. And you'll notice that EnVision kind of got caught slightly out of position, actually. They went very, very deep, but Coffee staying alive so long in the fight is really important. Kaon gets to pick off Farzik here, but it's so annoying as Genji to deal with a Pharah and Mercy combo. It is very frustrating to hit them consistently. But now, and we do have EG moving back onto the point. They had that man advantage with Farzik still taking a long time to get to the rest of the team, and they're just going to snowball that advantage. Again, when it's just a Lucio, when he goes down early in the fight, there's just no healing available now with Farzik having to latch on to Tsani to even get over towards the point.
The problem there is that EnVision didn't consolidate. They had a great opening where they had a big numerical advantage, but then they kept everyone split off, and they were looking for extra pickoffs along the side when all they needed to do was just stick together, and they would have been able to get that rather convincingly. They did not really see what they had there, and now as a result, they end up losing the first fight, and they're stuck from behind as they look to come back in. Now that said, Sandy coming in off the top show window here, looking for kills, gonna get mitigated a bit here by the D.Va, so it's a bit sloppy as Corey comes in on the flank, tac visor at the ready, and gonna keep EG in this fight as they get the first 2 kills and should power right through.
Yeah, again, Overwatch 101, right? They got the D.Va D-suited, then Corey went in with attack visor. It's just that simple, really. It doesn't get any simpler, but Zany got to come in now with the barrage after getting res. But it's nothing. Kaon comes in with a Dragon Blade here, and there's always an answer. Every res, every push so far, EG have had players up. Rena manages to take down Kaon, and that was a very messy fight there, but he's combining well with Coffee. Corey's going to be forced off at this point, probably knocked off the edge if he's not careful. It's a long way to run. And the Primal Rage being forced here is interesting for just the one player. Eventually Corey goes down. It was an ult invested in that though.
The key part of that fight is that Elkia was in the middle of dropping the sound barrier and died before his feet touched the ground. As a result, sound barrier not used, and what should have been an easy win for EG turned into a flip for EnVision. But there is a silver lining to every storm cloud, where now they have the sound barrier up for this next fight. They're going to open with it and use it to good effect. Coffee goes down immediately, and Goliath here in the back has the Transcendence if necessary, but with 2 early kills, Uber, they might get to save the support ultimate, as this is looking to be a clean engage indeed.
And that would be incredible. To have the Transcendence later into the fight would be nothing. The Gravy gets desuited now as well, so that D.Va's actually out of the mix entirely. Coffee's caught up on the point here. Decop just pressuring, took a little bit more damage, and Decop actually getting desuited there by that one player is pretty annoying for him right now as well. You just jump off the edge, you're done. You're just going to come back and spawn in your mech. You're not going to stuff around with the Bunny Blaster. So look, credit to Coffee for doing that, for forcing a little bit more stagger, even though he lost the fight.
And EG now 1 fight away from bringing back this control point map and winning the series in total. Remember, they won the first map in an epic showdown. Now they have the chance to do it here as Pimitsu picks off Coffee. The stick is successful, but it's a better stick coming in from Rena, taking down 2. He ends up falling 4 versus 4 in this fight. Very even here so far as the Transcendence goes out.
And this forces the Transcendence now as well. That was one that Goliath didn't want to have to use, but he had no other choice. Transcendence does work out. Self-destruct actually gets Decop DC, so that's something, but Kane and Pimitsu are still alive. Even without Corey, there's 2 more threats on the side of EG to really put the hurt on EnVision right now, and it's working beautifully. Corey comes back in after dying with attack visor. It's almost overkill, but it's just the right amount for EG. They're going to take the series 2-0. Really nice team play. I actually really enjoy watching these guys fight. Their focus fire